Hopefully you can hear us. Yeah, I just thought I would do something live because I thought I'm going to do my November catch-up. And of course, it is November now. Now, it's the end of November. So I thought, well, I'll just do one now because it's the only time I can do one. Hope the light's all right in here. A bit poor the lighting, but what do you do? So, yeah, so I thought I've got about an hour before anything happens. So what I'll do is I'll go on live and just have a bit chat. And then this will be me November catch-up. So Chickster says, good afternoon, John. Good afternoon, Chickster777. I know this is just off the cuff. I was going to try and do this a little bit earlier on today, but I've been on the phone sorting out stuff. And, when you get on the phone and you can't actually get through to anybody one of them days. Never mind. So, excuse me. So, yes, so I've got a couple of things. Sophie's Retro Revival says, hello, John, lovely. Well, hello, lovely Sophie. I've got a few videos coming up. That I was going to put one out tonight, but I think I'll put it out tomorrow. And it's going to be about a great title I've got, really astounding title I picked up by the help of a great guy called Dan. But that's coming out tomorrow, so I'll do that tomorrow. I was going to put it out tonight, but I thought I'll do it today. So I'll put it out tomorrow because I've come live today. Hope I'm not. Hope I'm speaking all right. I think I've been on the phone a little bit too much this afternoon. Do you notice? Does anyone ever feel that they don't go on the phone anymore? I don't really like the phone, if I'm honest, and I had to be on the phone about 3 or 4 times a day. So that's when my voice is a bit packed up. Never mind. So Chickster says, hope you're keeping well. Yes, I'm doing right. Actually, I do know that the work's going to be a little bit crazy. Well, probably from now till maybe the start of next year or thereabouts. But not to go into too many details, it's just going to be what it is. It is what it is. And I will try and upload as much as I can. Well, as much as I usually do anyway. So, yeah, but I'm keeping all right. Forgotten World of Movies, Andy says, hey, John, hope you're doing well, my friend. Yes, I'm doing quite good. Not so bad. I'll tell you what, I'm freezing though. I don't know if anybody else has got this problem around, but we've been covered in fog for the past 2 days, which is great. Not. Apart from the fog, yes, I think I'm doing all right. Sophie says, John was excited that you've got the Critters set. We watched Critters again last night. Well, funny enough, Sophie, as I mentioned on the video, that Jason has championed Critters for a long time. And I thought, of course, at that point to say, well, just go and get the Blu-rays or a form of it, and it's just nowhere to be seen. And I kind of just been hanging out for a Blu-ray to come out in the UK. Of course, what happens when I was in the CX the other day, just beside us was this box set of Critters DVD. So I thought I'll get that for £4, and then I will watch them, because I have watched Critters, but a long time ago. I have no knowledge of them. But I like the videos that Jason put out talking about Critters, which made me want to explore them. Of course, when somebody does that and you try and go to have a look at them, you can't find them anywhere. Yeah, but yeah, I'm really up for that. It's long overdue, and of course we need a one in the UK, don't we? I feel. So Bristolian Dave, or eat me babbers, watching while working. Well, yes, it's a funny time to be on, but I feel that sometimes these ones for me are probably the best time for me to do this, like solo live stream, because the evenings tend to be not frantic, but you do a lot more in the evenings, and this is a time when I thought I could just put this out, and I could catch up and see what anyone's got to say. If you want to ask us anything or anything, I don't know if I've got much to tell you, but so Dr. Impossible of Counterpunch 1984 says, warm down here in Cornwall. Feels like summer's just started. Evening, John. Sorry, afternoon. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, up here in the northeast of Newcastle, Whitley Bay, which is close to the sea, it's absolutely free. I know you're in Cornwall, it's close to the sea, but wow, this is this is the first time I put the heating on in a long time, unfortunately, because probably I'll not have the money now to pay anything else, because I put the heating on for 5 minutes. Never mind. But it's freezing up here, mind. Dr. Impossible. And Sophie says, love the video you did on Facebook. Yeah, it was funny because I don't really go on Facebook enough to keep up. That's my problem with it. I find it hard to keep up. I find it hard to keep up in general with everything, with all of the sort of Instagram messages and stuff like that. Not that I'm complaining, but I thought, you know what it is, rather than spend the time that I hadn't got answering things on Facebook for birthday messages, I thought what I'll do is I'll just do a video. So I just chucked this video out, and I knew that I had this little clip of me going saying what, and I thought, well, I'll play off with that. That's kind of influenced a little bit like Jamie Powell when he does his sort of split personalities. And I thought, well, I'll just put that on, and then I'll thank people on there on Facebook anyway. So that, yeah, I enjoyed that one. It was good fun, and yeah, I nearly swore at the end, didn't I? But I didn't, because you know me, Sophie, I don't swear that much. Yep. Of course, when we got on chatting after streams and stuff like that, that's when it all flies, doesn't it? So anybody who's been chatting to me after a stream will know that the air is blue. Yeah, but there you go. So, yep. So I plan to have a video out tomorrow night. I was saying I'm going to try and get one out on Friday night. I might not be able to do that. It depends if I'm off on Friday, but I don't know if I'm going to be doing anything with anybody, with Deborah and stuff like that. Deborah's at work today. I don't know what time she's coming in. She might be one of those late finishes. We see each other, of course we do, but we don't really bump into each other a lot. Sometimes. So I'm usually trying to figure out what's happening with her in the world. And she's at work. She can't actually message us. So, you know, I think might get a phone call here saying she's on the way home. I might do something today, but I doubt it. And I want to talk about the show scope set that I've got. So I want to look at that a bit more. I looked at it a little bit, and wow, the quality of some of them movies is just unreal. It's if anybody's thinking about the show scope movies, the kung fu movies, you want to give it a go, or you want to actually get a few of those movies if you can separately. Try them out, see what you think of them. Maybe look at them online, and if it excites you, well, I think that you could have this. Maybe you could get this box set. It's expensive. I'm not saying it's not, but in this Black Friday sales, they do come down a little bit. And it'd be a good chance to get one if you wanted to get one. But they're lovely. What a set they are. And they look great. I've got a photograph of them, which I haven't put online yet. When I took it, where the place they are at, if I can show you. I'll put this on my Instagram account. And just like that. How unprofessional of me not having this set up. I haven't got my screen on rotate. There we go. That's it. So yeah, so that's where it lives now, at the bottom of my wall. That's where the two show scopes are. So that's obviously the new one I got. That's the one I had originally. So I put them down there to keep it like quite the sort of it's all about, as you know, it's all about me getting them things in the right place. And I can see them from my bed, you see. So when I look at them, it fills me with great pleasure. Yeah, that's what I'm all about. So Sophie says, I'm still unsure if I'm going to come back to YouTube. Well, for me, Soph, you want to get back to YouTube and get back on it, because it was great when you were on here. And I know you're on here anyway. You're in the comments, and you're always around. You're always available. But it was one of those ones where you had a great channel. It was starting out, and I would like to think that you could get back to that and have your own thing, maybe your own live streams. That'd be great. So for me, that's a box ticked for me. If you come back to YouTube, I think that I would like to see you back on. I know that people would. So that you would do for me. But yeah, do it. Don't ever not do it. And if you're on there and you can't keep it up, or you want to sort of take a break, just don't put things on. Don't have to end things, then start things and end things. Just see how it goes. But I would definitely put one on if you can. Start it back up again. I'll always say that to everybody. Horror Hands, Bryn. Hi, John. Hi, Bryn. All right. Glad to see you on here. And tomorrow night, if you look at this movie that I'm going to show tomorrow night, you're gonna like this video. It's one of the ones that I got, and I thought, do I put this video out? But I'm going to put it out, because I know you'll understand when you see it. To why I was kind of sitting on the fence about showing this movie. But yeah, it would. I think you'll enjoy that one. Well, you definitely heard of the movie anyway, but it's right up your alley, Bryn. I'll tell you that much. Bristolian Dave says, I need to find the time to get some videos recorded and edited. So little time. Oh, honestly, it's the time factor. I mean, I would imagine everybody on here started or had a big input in COVID. The times of COVID when you could literally you had nothing else to do for your time. You were either work or at the house, nothing else. So that meant that you had this extra time. Now, going back to life being normal, this extra time gets eaten up. And because you've committed yourself that much to a thing, i.e. YouTube, and then when you go to the next step, which is like putting everything back in your life and YouTube, it's quite hard. And I think that for me, it's just finding the balance. And I say that my work's a little bit hectic at the minute, so I'm talking about that. So you know that it's going to take a part of. I can't do everything that you would want to do. So I understand what you're saying, Dave. It's sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's tough to fit these things in because you can record one, but then you can edit it. But sometimes it takes a bit more than that. It's something we can actually. How many times have we all set videos up, and you go into talking about it, and then when you go to set it up and you sort of do it, you just haven't got the vibe for it, so you kind of put it on the back burner because I was making a video about Down by Law, my favorite movie. So I made the video and I looked back and I thought that's just hopeless. It just didn't say anything that I wanted to say, so I called it quits on it and I just left it and I've deleted it. So I will go back to that one. But I think you've got to be in the right time or right mindset with it. But the best thing about YouTube is it's always there. So it's not as if you can't stop and then you're done. You can come back to it anytime you want. And if you tell everyone you just, things are getting a bit hectic, everyone understands and they'll cut you a bit slack. But yeah, Dave, it's all about the time. I think if you ask any YouTuber, especially I say the people who started in COVID, they'll say the same thing. It could be quite difficult at times to get that golden hour when you want to do these things. That's why I've done this now today, because I know that well, obviously it's the end of the month. I thought I was going to do this a lot earlier, but it's just the way it worked out. Yeah. So and Bristolian Dave also says to Sophie, if it's something you enjoy, do it. That's the best way to put it. And the best thing about this is it's very enjoyable. And it can be, and you've got there's loads of good people out there, there's loads of good friends. Sophie's a great friend. And you get this sort of, you chat with each other, and the fact is that you want to see these people, you want to be in contact with them. So I do think that a lot of people miss your channel, Sophie, and I'm being honest about that, and I'm one of them. So, if you can and you want to, and you like it, because Sophie also says, I always have so many ideas. I have a little idea for a short film, actually. I'll be interested to see that, because I've thought about doing some kind of film somewhere for whatever, for years and years. And I think I've filmed little bits and bobs over my life, and they're all, atrocious, if I'm honest. But I wouldn't mind doing something. That would be quite enjoyable, actually. Don't know if I've got the time for it, but one day. But yes, yeah, an idea for a short film. Why not? Yeah, get Jason to edit it for you. Give him all the hard work. So Mark Stewartson, hi John, hiya Mark, you all right? And Sophie says, best thing about YouTube for me was meeting Jason, obviously. Well, there you go. And it was funny because I remember that time. I remember the time when I used to see the streams that Jason was on and yourself, and you sort of were talking to each other. And I remember when Jason obviously told me about you getting together, and it was great. It was a great thing to happen. And obviously, if YouTube hadn't existed, you would have never met Jason. So that's a good thing, isn't it? But yeah, no, it's good. I enjoy that. Dr. Impossible says, what's all this about? Talk about the Frighteners coming out in Germany as a 6-disc set. Wow, you can tell I've not had my teeth put in today. Do you know anything about it, John? Well, I've heard a lot of people talking about it. The Frighteners, it's a big box, and I know I've seen a picture of it, so I know it's definitely available. And I don't think it's going to be cheap, but it could be. Now, obviously, sometimes when you get 4Ks coming out in Germany, they're not that good, or some of them aren't that good. So I think that made me think, well, I'm not too sure about this, because I have heard, well, you get the card in the Arrow box sets where they say The Frighteners is coming out and then just nothing happens. Well, they did that with Wolf of Wall Street and that did come out, so maybe it's taken a long time. So for me, the Frighteners, I do know it's out there and I do know it's meant to be amazing, but also I don't know if I want to go for it. And then the picture, so it's about the picture quality. Because I only want to buy it once. I've got it on DVD. That shows you how long ago it was when I was last in touch with it. And I've been putting it off watching it again because I do want to watch it as a 4K, because I know it's going to be made as a 4K or even out as a 4K. So yeah, I would love it, but I don't know if I would get it. I would get that German set, unfortunately, but it does look nice and it is coming out definitely, or it is out. I'm not too sure. Horror Hans Bryn says, I heard Second Sight finally plan on releasing Martin before Christmas. I really hope that's true. I've been waiting years for this release. Yes, me too. Martin is a spectacular movie. It's one of my favourite Romero movies, obviously starring the great John Amplas, and who's been in quite a few movies, although you hardly see him in them if you know what I'm talking about. I do think that this whole part of the Martin release has been the fact that I think that Second Sight have wanted to get the best available product, and I do think they've obviously talked about it, but I think I'm right in thinking that they've came out with something that they've found later on, so they've added it to the set. I know there's talk about this huge version of Martin on it, which is made up of like sort of pretty dodgy elements, but it's good to see it. But if this comes out, I mean, you know about the Arrow version was pretty dour, unfortunately. So I'm well, up for that one. And I honestly thought it wasn't going to be next year, but if it can come out before Christmas, I'll be so happy about that, because it's a movie I want to watch quite a few times. But I've put it back in my mind because I thought, well, I want to see it on a good version, because there's nothing worse when you watch something and then 2 minutes later 4K comes out and you think, oh, why did I watch that version when this other one? But anyway, but yeah, that's great news, Bryn. If that happens, then I'm up for that. One of the best vampire films ever. And obviously, if you don't know about it, you don't know about it. But if you haven't seen Martin, I do urge anybody to check it out. Sophie says, I think my next physical media purchase will be the Young Ones Blu-ray set. Well, funny enough, I was just watching, but I got halfway through it before I was on the phone. I was watching Jim Jam's review of it, and he was at that point, the first part, he was saying good things about it. And I'm a massive fan of the Young Ones, have been since they come out, and I would like to think that the Blu-ray set isn't. I know there's certain phrases in there that would fall foul these days of people who don't like that sort of thing, but it's of its time, and I think it was pertinent to what they were talking about, and it wasn't meant in the way that people would take it. But yes, I don't know if they've actually left all that in. I would like to think they have, because if they have, I'll definitely buy this set. I've got the big Blu-ray DVD set, and it's really good. I was only watching it a couple of months ago, but I love that. I don't know it off by heart, but I kind of do everything they say. I can kind of know what's coming next. Love that program. Mega Evil Jester. Hi, John. All right. Hope you did around to get watching Terrifier 1 and 2 just yet. Wondering your thoughts. Unfortunately, I haven't. I've been at work. It's one of those. I've got it. It's ready. It's ready. The only one I need to watch at this point is Star Trek 6, because I've watched the other 5 and I want to get the Star Trek 6. Can't speak. The Star Trek 6 watched today or tomorrow. I can't watch it tomorrow. But anyway, I want to talk about the whole set of these movies on what I watched on November. So that's probably going to go to the next month. But I'm so looking forward to it. It's unreal. The best thing I've watched recently is Pearl. That was what a movie that was. Absolutely brilliant. But as soon as you'll see it on what I watched on the month of December now, unfortunately, but I might do a video separately on it and just talk about it, because it's one of those movies that everyone talks about, but nobody can get their hands on it, including myself, until I just wandered past. Now, funny enough, when I went to HMV the time after that, it wasn't there, but Terrifier 2 was there, and I didn't even know there was a Terrifier 2. Separate release. So there you go. So Hulk 9768, hi from Oxford, hi from Whitley Bay. How are you doing in Oxford? It's great when you get these places and people say where they're from. I think it's brilliant to know that people are wherever they are in the world, or the UK, and so on. So, all right, Hulk. Dr. Impossible says it's typical. You buy the German version, then Second Sight or Arrow will release the Frighteners in the UK. True, John. Well, that's my fear. I'm not taking anything away from the German release. I think it looks really nice, but I would love to, because I would start a double dip then, wouldn't I? I would want to get the Arrow one or the Second Sight one, because I'd collect their stuff, probably more Arrow than Second Sight. So I thought I'm holding off. I don't want it to be one of those ones where I hold off. The Frighteners doesn't come up in the UK, and then you're paying about £1 million for this German release. How many times we've been in that boat? But I'm just thinking that I'm just a little bit on the fence with that one, because I've got other things I can buy, and there's a lot of stuff coming out that I want to get, and I would hate to think I would have to put a few of them to one side to get this one and not really need it. But yeah, it's I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying exactly. So Korashia Ishi says, hello, hope you are well. Hope all is well. Yes, all is well, actually, apart from being freezing, which didn't take much for me. I've got a hat over there. I don't think I'll put it on, but you never know. If you see the hat come out, it's just because the weather's got, I mean, I don't know what this, it's been foggy. It was that foggy yesterday, you couldn't see a hand in front of your face for the whole day. What's all that about? Sophie says, hope they will release a Bottom Blu-ray set next. Yes, me too. I think Bottom's amazing. The movie, the TV series. I've got some of the live DVDs as well, which are they're a bit of something else, aren't they? I think that you see Rick Mayall, for me, when he came out, I'm not saying that well, I suppose I was a little bit of aware of this alternative comedy when it came out, because comedy was a certain way and it was good and everybody enjoyed what they were enjoying. And you had Benny Hill and you had Mortimer Wise, you had everybody, there was all comedy all over the place. And then the young ones and Rick Mayall and the comic strip came out, and it was a different ball game. It was like wow, this is like unique or new. And leading the pack was Rick Mayall. He was just as you know, everyone knows he was a legend. Funniest man probably to walk the earth for a long time. Such a shame that he died so young. It's one of them things where you go, what? It's a bit one of them people that you think they'll be around forever, ever. He's just got that, they're just that large in life, which is such a shame. But he's left. I'll tell you what I was thinking about, and nobody ever talks about this. There was a series that they had out. I don't know if Rick Mayall was in it, but I know everybody else was in it, like Dawn French, Jennifer Saunders. It's called Happy Families. Does anybody ever remember Happy Families? I'm sure I had that on VHS somewhere. Haven't got it now. And it's one of those ones, I don't know if it's on YouTube or not. I don't know if you can get it, but I've never seen it to buy. I would love to get that. So if I could see, I don't know if that would ever come out, but if that could be released on DVD, it would, even the Blu-ray DVD would be absolutely brilliant. And I remember one episode of this fella, and he was a French fella called Dalcroix. It was played by Jim Broadbent, and he was meant to be this kind of really sort of good. I think he was a painter, or he was an artist, or he was some kind of writer. And he wasn't really. He was just a bit of a dummy. And this was that was the best episode, because I think Happy Families was all taking part of this family with Jennifer Saunders and Dawn French, and they played different parts in every episode. I think it's a long time since I've seen that one. So Dr. Impossible says, looks like The Hitcher could be released in the summer of next year. I have to make certain my trigger finger is super quick with that one. Oh my God. I mean, how long is that? I mean, I remember seeing it on VHS and from the video library. It was brilliant. It's one of the best things you could ever see. But then it vanished, and it did vanish, didn't it? And you think, as you do through your journey through this, you think, tell you what, I'll go and get that Hitcher. Not available. I wonder if the Hitchers, but it's one of those ones where you think, But it'll come out eventually, and look how eventually it's been. The best thing about it is, though, they've went and actually found something to do with 4K elements. So they're going to bring out an ultra high definition one, which is the best news ever, because that would have been awful if they'd done a Blu-ray, and then you had the 4K around the corner, which obviously you would have to upgrade. But I think that, The Hitcher, irrespective of being an amazing film, it's just one of those ones where you've been after it forever. And it's just it's so wild that these movies just disappear. These great movies disappear, and nobody can get a hold of them. I think it's a travesty, actually. But these are the things that, when it comes out, you've got to get it, you've got it, and it's there. I like the fact that when you do that, you've got it. So Dr. Impossible also says, heard yesterday that Kino in the US are releasing a 4K of Staying Alive. Flippin' heck, Tucker, exactly. Now, Staying Alive is obviously the sequel to Saturday Night Fever, and the Debs. Now, I'm going to say, I bet you I haven't got it, but just wait for a second here. I've got a handful of vinyl down here, and you might be surprised by this one. Watch it make a liar out of this. But it's actually, I'm quite interested in that Saturday Night Fever as well, because here we go. So there you go. What about that then? Remember them? That was look at John Travolta there. I mean, come on. He was in shape, wasn't he? And then he wasn't. But yeah. So this is Deborah's. This is the closest I've ever come to Staying Alive. I haven't actually seen it. And I remember saying to Deborah, did you like this movie? And she was like, I can't remember or anything. Probably the vinyl's probably in good nick, because Deborah keeps her stuff in good nick. So there you go. $4.99. I bet you if you went to buy this now, if it came out in the, whatever, the shops, and you thought, actually the spine's good in it as well. I bet you don't pay $4.99 for it. And so what songs are on here? Does it tell you? The Woman in You, I Love You Too Much, Breakout, Someone Belonging to Someone, Life Goes On, Staying Alive, edited version, Far From Over, Look Out for Number One, Finding Out the Hard Way, Moody Girl, We Dance So Close to the Fire, I'm Never Gonna Give You Up. Has anybody ever heard one of them songs apart from Staying Alive? Wow. I'm guessing that this one wasn't as big a hit as Saturday Night Fever, which we haven't got, actually, or Deborah hasn't got, I think. Wow, I prefer Grease. So Korashir says, did or are you getting Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction on 4K? I haven't, but I will be getting them. I like the Steelbook, but I'm not a big Steelbook fan or collector. So what I would prefer to do is I prefer to get the regular one with a slipcover. And I've seen the one that they've got in the US, and it's bright red. It looks brilliant. And I've heard that the transfer in it is meant to be one of the best transfers ever. So I'm want to get that. I love the film, but also I don't know if I will be getting the Steelbook, because I'm not a Steelbook fan. But yes, definitely. And Pulp Fiction, as much as I love Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, I like Reservoir Dogs is my favourite of the two, but Pulp Fiction is such a good movie. It's a better movie put together. In fact, both of them are just unreal. I think that's his two best movies. So I haven't, but I will. Sophie says, just had a YouTube of Happy Families, odd episodes and clips on here. Well, yeah, I could look at bits and bobs of it, but does it exist, Helen? What does Amazon say about that? Because you never know, there might be. But I think it's massively out of print. It was such a good show, and I remember it coming on. And it was what we used to do was and a lot of people used to do this. Used to copy the soundtrack onto a cassette. Used to put the cassette next to the telly and do that. And I remember, well, I haven't got it anymore. But when I was doing it, the audio was, people were talking in the room, and I kept shouting them, will you shut up? But they didn't. I think they were just winding us up. Actually, that was when I was a kid. But that's It might be too generic to put Happy Families in here. I'll put Happy Families DVD. What a video, watching me searching through Amazon. Hang on. Happy Families, the complete series, 2 DVDs. There was only one. There you go. So that's it. Where am I? Yeah. I actually played like an old person. It was just the all played different and serial buying options. What should be like £1 million somewhere. Oh, I tell you what, I'm going to buy 15 of them. It's only £88.74. To be honest, I'm not surprised, because it's one of those ones where it says there, it's like I've never even seen that DVD to buy. So if I did, I would have seen it. So that's a shame. How many times has that happened? Especially with something like that, you would think it would just be pounds, it'd be pennies in CAX, but never. Actually, keep an eye out for in CAX. You never know. I'll do a quick CAX one and see what they say about it. If I've got any, that'll be interesting. Imagine we got it for £1. You know, that's wishful thinking. And helps if you press the right app. Firstly, Happy Families DVD. No, that's there's no way that's going to be that. Happy Families DVD. No, there's not one in there. That's fair enough. So there you go, £88. Not bad at all. Good job of only done one, isn't it? So Dr. Impossible says Rick Mayall in The New Statesman used to love watching that series late night on ITV, classic series. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And actually, when you look at it now, because I watched a few of them recently, it's so ahead of the time, because he was more or less saying that people are that awful. Well, they've always been that awful in politics. But the way he went on is actually the way they're doing it now, isn't it? And worse. Wow. Coro says, is Staying Alive anything like Saturday Night Fever, or is it nothing alike? Okay, never mind. Answered by God/John. If I'm honest, after not seeing it, I don't think it's anything like Saturday Night Fever. Saturday Night Fever was quite a hard movie. I think a lot of people, I remember my mum went to see it, and I remember saying to her, what was it like? She was, I can't believe how much swearing was in it. And I think at that point, you went to see movies like Grease and that, even though Saturday Night Fever was out before Grease, and you would be quite shocked if anyone said a swear word. And I know that Saturday Night Fever, if you see the uncut version, because the TV version has most of it bleeped out or taken out, but there's some strong words in there, words that you think, really, that was allowed in them days. Dr. Impossible says, Coro, it's set 6 or 7 years after the events of the first film. It's not a masterpiece, but it's fairly watchable. Sylvester Stallone directed it. Yes, actually, wow. Now you can't mention it. I know, because I was looking in there, because Frank Stallone's done some of the songs. You can see that in the soundtrack, but I forgot all about that. Sylvester Stallone, wow. You don't think of him directing stuff, do you? Although I think he's a great persona. So if he says, watch First Blood for the first time on Sunday night, I had a good time with it. Actually made me cry. It's a lot. It's one of those movies when you think of Rambo and you think of that, but when you watch the first one, it's different, isn't it? It's much more of a like an action film with it has a heart, doesn't it? Yes, yeah, I agree with that one. Caro says, Dr. Impossible, thanks for the info. Caro also says, watched the 4K of Reservoir Dogs last night. I wept like a baby throughout. The transfer is so beautiful. You won't believe it. Well, it's funny, because the best thing about YouTube is you get a lot of people's advice. And if sometimes you get these like reviews when someone says, well, I quite enjoyed it, it's all right. Some people say, I think it's really good. Other people say it's really bad. So you're a bit on the fence, you don't know where to go with it. But when you get ones like Reservoir Dogs, when everyone says this is the best thing you're going to see, so I'm envious of you for seeing it, but I know that it's high on my list, because I love that movie, and I've got it on Blu-ray, obviously, but I just want that. I want that upgrade to the 4K, especially, and as you know, that I think Inglourious Bastards was a little bit, hit and miss with its transfer, and this is meant to put that out to right. I'll tell you one that should look really good would be the Hateful Eight, because that was shot on 70mm Super Panavision, and it's meant to be like the stock that they've got to get the information out there for 4K would be stupendous. So that could possibly be his best looking movie if they do it right and they don't DNR scrub it. Dr. Impossible says, John, did you ever see a film called Flashpoint, made in 1984 with Treat Williams? Yes, I did actually, and I'm trying to bring that back. Treat Williams used to be in everything, didn't he? There was a great film that he was in. I can't remember what it was. I remember it's something to do with something from the sea anyway, but it was a really good movie. I don't think it's Flashpoint. It could have been. I don't know, but yes, Flashpoint was a good movie. I remember, but Treat Williams back in them days used to be in every single movie that you used to watch. It was one of the strange people. Teabags. Hello, John. Hello, Teabags. I'm at work at the moment putting up Christmas decorations. Actually, the Christmas decorations at my work were going up today as I left. Hope you're keeping well. I am, yes, I'm not too bad. I have a ton of Blu-rays and 4Ks coming for Christmas, including A Clockwork Orange. Well, I don't know if you know this, but I'm quite a fan. And but I'm interested, Teabags. Have you seen Clockwork Orange before? Is this your first time round? Are you just getting the 4K of Clockwork Orange? Which I think it's a great 4K. It's not the best looking 4K, but the best. It was shot that way. It wasn't shot in a certain form that people think it could look. So, not beware, but be mindful of the fact that but for A Clockwork Orange, it's stunning. It really is. It's not as vibrant as some films, but I think it's a cold movie in general. And I think it does come across like that on the transfer, but you're in for a treat there. Cy Robson says, finally got around to watching New Ripper. Oh, I can definitely see why it was banned. The violence towards women was rough. Yeah, it was at that time. It's weird to say this, but it wasn't really that frowned upon, was it? There was a lot of that stuff happening, but it was kind of just, it is what it is. And now it's in a different mindset. That, well, actually, they were in a similar mindset there for that, because it was that aggressive that they said no. And actually, the main thing was it wasn't even allowed in the country. It wasn't as if they said, oh, you have to cut that, you have to do this. They just said, you're not putting this out. Didn't even get a chance to cut it until, well, who released it? But it's Shameless was still cut then. But there's talk about it coming out uncut. I don't know if it can. I really would be surprised to see that come out uncut. But you never know these days. The House on the Edge of the Park's meant to be coming out uncut, which isn't as bad as that, but it's similar, in a similar fashion. Cora says to Sophie, have you seen the other Rambo movies? And Cora also said, as someone who likes horror, do you also like musicals? If you're talking to me, then yes, I do. I do like them. Certain musicals. They've got to have something about them. I can watch. There's some sort of musicals where there were, the big musicals of the day, which don't really interest us, although some of them do. It's funny because I think they're good, but I've got to be not in the right mood for them. I've got some movies I can say, like for instance, there's movies like Carousel and stuff like that. Now, they're not really my cup of tea. Like a Western movie where they're singing, I don't really. But then again, Paint Your Wagon is the same thing, and I do like that. So it's funny. I don't know if you're the same, Caro. Do you like every musical, or do you tend to not? Some musicals don't really transfer to like your genres. It's an interesting one, that. But yes, I do like musicals. Grease, obviously. Singing in the Rain was good. I just got that. That was what a thing that is. And then obviously La La Land, which I never thought I would like, but I think it's absolutely brilliant. And The Star Is Born was, what a movie that was. So I think maybe, I don't know, it just depends on the genre. But yeah, I wouldn't never like put a thing off because it's a musical. Not in any way. Actually, Enchanted, which is a musical, and they're just doing the new one, which I want to watch, Disenchanted. That's brilliant. and that's got musical stuff all over it. But in the Muppets as well, the Muppets are musicals. I love the Muppets stuff. So Dr. Impossible says the only two other things I took note of was the Arrow announcements for Feb, The Last Emperor, and The Vagrant, directed by Chris Wallace. I haven't seen The Vagrant since my VHS days. Well, I remember seeing the announcements, and I saw The Last Emperor, which I've seen way back in the day, and I didn't really recognise any of the other ones, sadly. But as a Vagrant, the one with that strange bloke's face on the front, because I haven't seen that one at all that I know of anyway. Dr. Impossible says, yeah, New Ripper was a tough watch. I saw it once and that was enough. Yeah, it'd be interesting actually, if you went back to it today, Dr. Impossible, you might think it's not that bad, because I used to think it was super extreme, but I don't get that these days when I watch it, but it is still nasty. Yeah, there's no way around it, and it is really violent towards women, and it's quite, well, it's as if there's no holds barred on that, and you think, I know there's probably worse films out there, but that for me was the worst one back in the day. So Cy Robson says, Bugsy Malone is the greatest musical in my opinion. Yeah, I quite like that actually. I remember watching that as a kid with the custard pie fights. That was it was good. Yeah, I remember some of the songs as well. I think the thing of a good musical is if you remember the songs themselves, and I don't know if anyone ever thinks this, but if you get a musical and get a soundtrack of it, sometimes it's really good, i.e. Grease. Sometimes it's really bad when you see them actually from the movie. Sometimes the Elvis soundtracks, when you get them and you list them on an album, they sound atrocious. You've got to see them. The fact that he does these stupid things like, what's the one where he's on, I don't know which one it's on. It's on the beach one where he starts kicking sand at people, and it was a song about kicking sand at people, and I thought, yeah. And then when you listen to that on a record, it just sounds ridiculous. Sounds like a joke, actually. So, yeah. So Blu-ray Baz, the black guy who hacks the vault in Die Hard. Oh, and Die Hard died today. Sad times, age 66. Wow, that's no age, is it? Oh, what a strange, what a horrible thing to happen there, Baz. It's you just think that well, you do think that a lot of people are going to be around forever or thereabouts. And when you hear 66, that isn't really an age, is it? You know, anything. I don't know what you would think is an age these days, but I think 80 is a good age. 66 isn't. What a shame. Sophie says, Coronoy, I've only seen First Blood so far. Well, I think, Sophie, that you're in for a treat, but you do know that they do change flavour. First Blood is a different movie to the rest of them, like Rambo 2 and 3. I haven't seen 4 and 5, but I've got them, and I do want to watch them. But I like Stallone, and I will give him a free pass on anything. If he's got a movie out, it's a bit cringe, although they aren't. Although it gets a bit daft in Rambo 3 when he's literally, I think he's just shooting anything that looks at him. But I'll get a good time with them. But they're not the same. They're in a bit of a different, how can I put it? They haven't got the emotional thing I don't think that the first one had. I think it went more for like mainstream, I think. Still violent though. Sophie says, I love Bugsy Malone. Yeah. It's one of those movies that's, well, put it this way, I haven't seen another one like it. Really good. Teabags, I'm excited to watch A Clockwork Orange, John, as I've never seen it. I was happy to see you received an HD DVD for your collection. Yes, I did, and that was off Baz, who's in the chat here. Yeah, it's funny when you get the HD DVD for it. I was looking at it a lot. I can't watch it, but I was looking at it because I thought, you know what it is? This is something I never even thought existed, and I like that. And put them back in the shelves now. Apart from the VHS, everything else back in the shelves. So I've got not together, unfortunately, because the DVDs don't sit with the Blu-rays in the same thing because of the gaps. But no, yes. So Teabag, I think you're in for a treat. This movie is like a movie that you probably will never see again. It's just so good. And the fact is that obviously I was denied the chance to watch it for years and years and years, made it even more thrilling for me to watch it. Stephen Davis says, I rewatched the York Ripper again. I think it's one of Fulci's best. Great giallo. Yeah, I do think some people, I don't know if you agree with this, some people, when they first watch it, they're a bit surprised at how the killer talks, like Donald Duck. But I can get past that. That some people might be put off by that, but I think it's quite a good little thing on here, and I just think that for me, I think it adds to the story. But I can understand why people say, "What, he's talking like Donald Duck on the phone?" But yeah, so but it is. I think I think as giallos go, I think it's one of the best, and it's probably one of the goriest as well. You know, it's got no holes barred. No holes barred, has it? Coral says, "I'm a big fan of musicals, mostly from before the 70s. Like you, I prefer some over others. Agree on having to be in the right mindset before putting them on." Yeah, the more contemporary ones I can watch anytime. I could watch Grease now. I could watch Star is Born now, La La Land now. I could just do that. Things like, not so much Singing in the Rain, but things like, you know, the big sort of musicals of yesteryear. I've got to be in the right mindset for them. What's the one with, is it something to do, Top Hat? I think that's one. I like that one. I like I like the ones where you get these big dance things. What's the one where Fred Astaire's dancing? I think it's Fred Astaire, and he dances all around the whole room, upside down. But it's to span the room, but they kept the camera in the same angle. What an effect that is! The fact you can actually walk around the room, but they've nailed all the equipment to the tables and chairs are stuck to the floors or ceilings. That's amazing. That. So I don't know if that's not Top Hat, but yeah, things like that, big dance numbers or strange dance numbers. Yeah, I'm all for that. Dr. Possible says Saturday Night Fever had a PG friendly release on CIC video in the UK for the retail market. Yeah, yeah, you're right. There was a time when you just couldn't get that 18 version, could you? And it is 18 as well, isn't it? So Media Collector Madness. Hi John, hope you are well and good. Yes, I'm not doing too bad. Hope you are too as well, mate. Stephen Davis, Goran Venice is a very sleazy giallo as well. The chap eating eggs disturbed me though. Now, I haven't seen that one. Is that a new sort of giallo? Because some of these ones are newer. I haven't really heard of that one. So is that a 70s one as well? But so someone eating eggs disturbed you. That sounds really something you just don't want to look at. Cora says, Stephen Davis, then you don't want to see me eat my eggs. Wow. Hey, that would be a good video for you to make, Cora. This is me eating eggs. If that's something that people should see or not see, it might go viral. Dr. Possible says Rambo 3, Goldsmith's cue for the final battle. Epic film score for an overblown finale, but I still like it. Yes, I remember you talking about the music and that. Yeah, definitely remember that. The Monkey says I thought seeing Patrick Dempsey singing and using a sword was hilarious. Watching him with that giant made me laugh out loud. Yes, it was such a revelation, that movie. The fact that Amy Adams in that movie is spectacular. In fact, I really want to see obviously the sequel, but I don't want to see it if it kind of takes anything away from the first one. But I do want to see it. But I'm definitely up for that one. But yeah, it was so her persona of just being a princess in the middle of New York with all these horrible people there, and she doesn't understand it. I think it's great, mate. Should do more like that. Media Collector Madness says Rambo 4 and 5 are a lot more brutal. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard Rambo 4 is meant to be really over the top. I think it was cut a little bit, although I've been given by a subscriber an uncut version. Hulk 9768 says can't wait the 1st of December to watch Troll on Netflix. Well, you are in for a treat. I didn't know that was coming on there. Troll 2 is meant to be awful. I haven't seen Troll 2. I've seen Troll. That's such a good movie. It's bad, but it's good. The fact of this, what's the troll do if he gets into people's bodies, and you can, I think he touches them or hits them with a stick or something, he gets into the bodies and he becomes, the troll is in this person. When he gets into the little girl turns into this, is inhabited by the troll. Oh. Now you're in for a treat. You really are, Hulk. Uncle Duvet says, have Ebola syndrome coming from 88 films hopefully this week. Are you a fan of Cat 3? Yes, massive fan. Every Cat 3 movie I've seen, and I haven't seen them all, but I've seen quite a few. I've always enjoyed them. I think they'll go for that extra edge, and they do. Ebola syndrome is, it's mad. So I'm definitely getting that one myself. But I'm a big fan of Cat 3, definitely. Blitz. All right, Blitz. Hi, mate. How are you? How are you? Have you ever been? Have you ever been? Have you ever seen Her to Stockholm? Stockton. I'll have to. My eyes are going here. It's the age. Hi, mate. How are you? Have you ever been here to Stockton-on-Tees or Middlesbrough to Blu-ray hunt? Hope all is well. I haven't though, but I have been to. Haven't been to Stockton, but I've been to Middlesbrough a couple of times. I went to Middlesbrough to see the Mac Lads. Does anybody remember the Mac Lads? I think they've come. They're all going again. The most offensive band in the UK. Wow, what were they like? Yeah, I went to see them in 1989, I think, but that's probably the only time or the last time I went to Middlesbrough. But no, I would actually. It's funny. I don't really go anywhere to Blu-ray hunts apart from probably London. I don't go anywhere else, but I think I need to go to a few places. Maybe do a Blu-ray hunt trip with the Debs. I'm sure she'd enjoy that. But hope all is well. Yes, I'm doing all right. I hope you're doing all right as well, Blitz. Cy Robson says Cronenberg used to use the technique as the Fred Astaire in his version of The Fly. Yes, that's right. This the monkey says Fred Astaire dancing on the ceiling is Royal Wedding 1951. It's if anybody can get the clip up, if anyone's watching this and want to get the clip up of that movie and just that scene is on YouTube. The fact it's just amazing. I mean, excuse me. If you saw that back in the day, you probably wouldn't have been able to work out what was going on there. It's done really well, mind. He was a great talent, Fred Astaire, even though when he was acting, when he went for his tryouts, everyone said you can't act, you can't sing, you can't dance, get lost. Look where he ended up. Doctor Impossible. I used to like Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band film. Robert Stigwood's take on the Beatles with the Bee Gees and Donald Pleasance. Yeah, I like all of the Beatles. I like the Beatles music, but the films are great. I've got them all actually. And Sergeant Pepper's actually the picture quality on Sergeant Pepper's. No, that's Magical Mystery Tour. Sorry. I don't think I've seen that one, the Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band film. But no, I haven't seen that one. Sorry, I'm getting that mixed up. I didn't even know it existed. Karachia says to the monkey, thanks, never seen that one. T-Bag says, I'm usually not a fan of musicals, but I have an infinite fondness for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Yes, you keep forgetting some of these movies are musicals, which I hope to see in 4K soon. You're in for a treat with that one, man. The 4K on there is spectacular. The colours on it are unreal. So absolutely very highly recommended. And it's one of those movies when I went back to and I thought, I bet I don't like this anymore. I used to like it. I maybe don't like it anymore, but I loved it. Cy Robson says it's not that troll, it's a new version. Oh well, there you go. I don't know anything about the new one actually. Is it a kind of remake of that one, or is it just a brand new troll or a brand new one in the series? Or yeah, the monkey. It's a must-watch issue. Amy Adams pulled off a version of Evil Stepmother we hadn't seen before. Her acting, that dual role, had me chilled by how evil she could make her realistically be. Now, I think is that the one we're talking about, the new one? I'm dying to see it. I want to, well, when my shifts collide, me and the Debs will watch that one together. Because she said she wouldn't entertain Enchanted, because she said, what on earth are you watching this for? And I says, just watch it and see what you think. So she did eventually. She had to say, she says, that was really good. I said, it's not a kid's film, but it is. Coro says, on the network releasing the Stuart Canal Vintage Classics also on Netflix in the UK. I'm not too sure about that. Might do. Pro Physical Media. That's all right there, mate. Troll 1 is a great film. Troll 2 is so bad it's hilariously great film. Also, I love musicals. Hi, John. How have you been? Yes, I've been all right. Not too bad. How have you been, Nos? Hope you're keeping all right. Caro says, the monkey, sorry, but that has Amy Adams. What has Amy Adams to do with Royal Wedding? The monkey, the Royal Wedding is a must-watch. Media Collector Madness, the new Young Ones Blu-ray set looks good. Yes, I was just talking about that, and I hope it hasn't any language cut out of it. I hope it's the version that they put out and the needs to keep out, because that's what's on the DVD. The DVD hasn't anything taken out, but I do know when they're repeated on Sky. That's Sky Comedy. Anybody remember that channel? all those bits were taken out, which was a travesty. And also, as well as some musical bits that were taken out of some versions. I don't think the DVD has that, but maybe the musical rights might not come into this one again. I hope not. Cora says, the monkey, haha, thanks, I will try and track it down. Flotty, 46, all right, mate. The Exorcist and the original Evil Dead are currently on the BBC iPlayer. How times have changed, yeah. How times have changed. If you think about it, these things, if you said to somebody at that point, hey, I bet you what, I'll be able to see this for nothing on a BBC a BBC site or BBC in itself, The Exorcist and Evil Dead, they would have just laughed at you. It would have just been something that could never have happened, but look at it now. Quite rightly, you know, why have these things, they were banned stupidly back in the past or kept away from people, but then time should never come, well, should never come back. I don't think it ever will, actually. So Noz says, I'm good, John. The Black Friday sales bankrupt me. Laughing face. I tell you what, I've spent well. I've done all right, but there was a lot more I could have went for, and it would have cleaned us out. I've had to show some restraint on stuff that I'm thinking. I'm sure this sale is going to be around for a little bit longer, and also you're going to get your Christmas sales and your New Year's sales. So maybe at that point I'll pick those other things up that I was going for. But I could have went crazy with this, and because there's some brilliant stuff out there, and it seemed to come out of nowhere, the HMV sale especially. So I'd hope that nobody had actually spent a fortune on some of these things, and then literally minutes later they were half price or a lot of money off it. So it's a great time to be in a sale, but it's also a scary time for us lot, because the amount of stuff that everybody in here would have a list of things they want, and when you get the chance to get them at a lower price, you actually go crazy, don't you? I know I do. So Cy Robson says, I think the new Troll film, the new Troll, is linked to the Norwegian film Troll Hunter. Well, now we couldn't mention that. I seem to remember somebody saying that. Now, Troll Hunter is a brilliant movie. If anybody's not seen Troll Hunter, it's like a found footage movie, but it's not really a found footage movie, like it kind of is. And the way it's shot. But I think the trolls in it are done really well. They look real, which sounds ridiculous because they're like massive. I mean, they're huge, these things, but it's just the way they're kind of in with the picture. And the picture's shot at night, and it's like on a sort of handheld thing. I think it's really good. And so I definitely want to see more of that. I'm surprised I haven't done more with Troll Hunter, because I don't know if it was a big hit, but everyone likes that movie who's seen it. The Monkey, what Christmas films do you feel are severely underrated, and one Christmas film that you hate? Well, I would say the Christmas films that you feel is severely underrated. That's a hard one. I mean, I would probably have to go to some horror movies like Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Christmas Evil. Although I haven't seen that one yet, but I want to see that one. I think that everybody talks about that one, so that's going to be one of the ones I'm going to try and watch at this Christmas. But you've got things like Black Christmas, which isn't underrated at all. I don't know. There's quite a few films out there, especially the Christmas ones, like Krampus. I've got it, but I haven't seen it. So I don't know what ones I would say are underrated, but I know that one Christmas film that you hate, I think that's probably got to be one that's like a kind of sickly sweet one that's not really different. I mean, I love National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That's one of my favorite films of all time. I watch that any time of the year. There's a lot of them that I do like, but Christmas movies, the ones that I really like, the Christmas movies, and I don't know why this is, but I've talked about it before, that's Melissa Joan Hart, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She does Christmas movies like practically every year, and every year she makes one. I don't think she made one this year, but they're always out, and they're on Sky somewhere or online. So I go and actively seek those out every year. And if I can't find a new one, I'll watch a couple of old ones without fail. Wow, which is a bit crazy, when I come to think of it, and Deborah always says, "You are not watching this one again, are you?" And I says, "Well, yes, I am, because I think it gets me in the Christmas spirit." Melissa Joan Hart. I've often, well, I haven't often, but I've messaged her on Facebook, not Facebook, Instagram, and said on a site how much I enjoy her Christmas movies, but she hasn't messaged back. Did she like one of them one time? I don't know, but that would be good to have a. Imagine having a conversation with Melissa Joan Hart. That'd be amazing. Big fan of her, actually. Big fan of her. Just to her in general. I just think seems to come across like a really nice person. Anyway, that was a strange place to go to, wasn't it? Cora says, have to go now. Enjoyed the stream. Take care, everyone. Thanks for coming over, Cora. He's a great lad. We've been talking since I started here. So yeah, you take care whatever time it is and whatever you're going to do. So thanks, mate. Uncle Dove says director Albert Pyun passed away last week. Slowly going through his films. Have you seen any have you got in your collection? Now I don't recognize the name, if I'm honest. You'll have to tell us what he's directed, because I might have, but the name doesn't ring a bell, if I'm honest. Pro Physical Noz says, did you see there's an eBay selling the Gestapo's Last Orgy from 88 for £12 plus £1.64 postage? Wow. Well, if you're interested, I would go and get that one, because it's not easy to get. Well, it wasn't. I mean, I paid a lot more than that to get. I think about £28 to get it from the States. And so yeah, so that'd be one to snap a sound off. I mean, the film's, well, it's all right, but it gets sick in places. But it's a really well-made film. It's probably the best looking video nasty you'll ever see in your life, like quality-wise, as if somebody's a good movie maker behind the scenes. Unlike The Beast in Heat, which seems like it was made by a 5-year-old. Cy Robson says Santa Jaws is the worst Christmas movie. I'll tell you what, with a name like that, Santa Jaws, that makes me want to see it. I love movies like that. I love titles like that. So Charles Bronson says, all right, Charles, I think I'm going to have to take it easy with unexpensive steelbooks, John. Mate, just spent about £70 on Pulp Fiction and Starship Troopers on 4K. Yeah. The thing is, though, with that, and if anybody wants to buy whatever they want, that's great. And I mean, I've spent some stupid money, not stupid money, but money that people would say, what are you spending that on that? But I'd say, well, I want it. So I can understand why people spend a lot of money on the various things I like. But going back to the money part of it, you think that it's just going up and up and up, isn't it? I mean, steelbooks have always been more expensive. I'll definitely say that. There may be a lot of hard ones to produce, but you just think, wow, this is big money. This is really crazy money now. You know, when you hear things when you pay for them, like £70, £80 for a release, and you think there's got to be a time when there's got to be a bit of a cut off with this, because they can't keep going up and up, because in the end nobody will be able to afford to buy them, will they? Which is it's a shame, because everyone should have the chance to buy whatever they want to buy, shouldn't they? So the monkey says, yes, I had the chance to get it, but I didn't, since it wasn't worth it to me, which would have been, if I can see what that was. I think was that about Tron? I think it was. I'm struggling with these comments, mind. I'm blind to that. So Grayson says, all right, Grayson, not a Christmas movie as much, but there's a very funny chapter from the Amicus film Tales from the Crypt. Oliver McGreevy from the Ipcrest Files dressed as a Santa making with Stoke and Joan Collins. Yes, I remember that. I've got it upstairs. It's one of those ones where I always mean to watch Tales from the Crypt, and what's the other one that's on with it? Oh, I've got with it. Not Tales from the Crypt, something from the Vault. Well, I love them films, but yes, that's a great little piece. But it's a brilliant. It's not a full movie. It's just like a chapter. You're right. Port Masswell films, but they were great back in the day. One tell you all the time, weren't they? Yeah, I remember that one. Strange to see Joan Collins in that role as well. Uncle Doof says, sorry, Cyborg, Nemesis, Arcade, etc. I'll try and see what that. Oh, right. Yes. Okay, I've got you. I've got Nemesis. I've got Nemesis. And I've seen Arcade and Cyborg, obviously. No, that's a bit of a shame, that, because it's one of the ones. Nemesis was one of the ones I've got lined up to watch, and me ginormous what I'm going to watch list, which is quite frankly ridiculous. And it's definitely in there. That's a bit of a shame. I actually had a hold of Cyborg the other day. I was going to pick it up in the sale, but I didn't get around to it, but I probably will. Do like that movie, actually. I've got a few of his. Actually, I was watching that Time Cop as well. Time Cop's a good movie. I don't know if he did that. I don't think he did. So Cy Robson says, don't forget the Sword and the Stone. So the Sword and the Sorcerer, sorry. The Monkey, best episode, that last scene with Santa holding the girl's hand with a psycho look on his face right before you can tell he will murder the mother is hilarious. Underrated episode. It's definitely one of those. I tell you what, there's a lot of stuff. I keep saying this. I'll watch this at Halloween. I'll watch this at Christmas. Now, I never get around to what I want to watch. I was going to watch all the Halloween stuff that I didn't get around to watch to this month, which I don't think I watched any horror. Well, apart from Pearl, that you can class as a horror to a certain extent, but it's a bit more. I'm trying to think what it would class it as. There's a review I saw of it, and someone had said, Tales from the Prairie. Not The Little House on the Prairie, and someone had dubbed it as The Little House on the Scary, which, yeah, that would sum it up. So Nod says Cyborg with Van Damme and Nemesis are the only Albert. I wouldn't say Pion, is that right? Is how you say his name? Films I have in my collection. Well, I've only got Nemesis at this point. But I do like there's movies. I would definitely watch more of them. Dr. Impossible says, what is the attraction of Night of the Bloody Apes? I remember seeing that film on pre-cert VHS back in the day and couldn't stop laughing. I think that's probably why, because it's just so bad it's good. I think that's a lot of these video nasties do. If I see a bad video nasty, meaning like a bad film, I will look at it from a humor point of view. So I would want to see it for that one, because I know that it's ridiculous. The trailer actually that I've seen recently, it's quite a good trailer. A lot of screaming going on in that apparently you don't see in the film. The Monkey, Santa typo. Blitz, anyone picking up the Carry On films in Blu-ray when they are released? I would pick up a few of them. I do like a few of them. I don't like all of them. And if the set wasn't silly money, then I think I might pick that up, because I do like watching them. But I think I've seen them that many times that I don't know if I want to watch them again. Some of them, when you just look at them, you think, that's like that wasn't that good. I wasn't that dead funny when you were a kid, but not that funny now, or a bit predictable. But I do like them. If it was the right price, I would buy them. Teabags, I spent a lot on Shameless releases, including Suspiria's 4K restoration. I think it's always worth it when you watch something like The Beyond / Suspiria. Those films blew me away the other night. Oh yeah, yeah. Beyond, Suspiria, absolutely brilliant. Just some of the best things you'll ever see for me. And they're not really like anything you would ever get these days. So that's another thing why I like them, that they're kind of its time, but in a good way. Dr. Impossible says, did you ever see Beryl Reid in The Beast in the Cellar? Yes, I did. That was a great film. And it was good. I remember that. I remember Beryl Reid being kind of, what? Beryl Reid's in this movie? Remember, it was definitely one of those ones, the portmanteau films, and I don't know which one it was. It might have been Tales from the Crypt, where Terry Thomas was a perfectionist and used to go into his basement and be a perfect. It's going to be a bit spoilery, this, and I think he had a wife, but she was a famous actress, but she used to play someone who was always like a cute person, who was like a nice, friendly type of person, and he was really doing his, how to put it, he was being like annoying, so annoying that she kind of flipped and she hit him with a hammer. Does anybody remember that movie? But I tell you what, when she hit him with a hammer, and it's so funny, and I'm going to have to go back to this because I might have a forced memory on this one, and it's not really going to spoil the movie, but this happens. It's not a spoil. It's not the end of the film, put it this way. But when she launches on the thing, and I think she's either going to the stairs or he's going to the stairs, one of the two, and she just swings his hammer and hits him right in the head like that. His head just goes crack, but I think the cracks are painted on. And what a scene that was, honestly. It was just so like weird to see her brain him over the head with a hammer. There you go. That's quite good. I know that's not really the Beryl Reid one, but it's got a similar flavour a little bit. So Lenny Nero, all right, Lenny, saddened about Albert Pion. I'm saying Pion, I don't know if that's correct. He was nice enough to send me a personally signed blue. Oh yes, I remember you talking about this, with his commentary of Mean Guns in HD at the time when there was no official Blu-ray yet anywhere in the world. Now, Lenny, I remember you mentioned this a while ago. I remember hearing that from you. And so to you to have that personal touch, I think it's probably when I showed off Nemesis back in the day. I think you mentioned that story. Wow. So you've got a personal collection of them. So yes, it's obviously going to be terrible when you've been, like when you know somebody or you've got some kind of connection. It's always bad that. I don't think I've got many connections to celebrities, but the ones that I have got, and when they pass away, it does affect you a bit more than if you didn't know them at all. Stephen Davis says, are the carry-ons getting UK releases? Some of the DVDs have bad transfers. I don't think I've actually got any on DVD, but I mean, my favourite one is Carry On Camping, and I've got that. I've got that on a, when we used to get the DVDs free with the Sun. Not that I buy the Sun, I think it's what I would have bought and threw it away. But I have got it somewhere. There's the heating on. Isn't that weird? I'm heating up you outside. Should charge somebody out there for the thing. I'm rambling now. The monkey says, I'm excited for the horror Winnie the Pooh horror film. Yes, going to buy the film on Steelbook. Yeah, that's come out, hasn't it? Yeah, can you believe it that would be a thing? So Lenny Nero says, how far back are the comments, John, reading? Actually, they're not too far by here. I'm seeing the ones down here are going to be. I've only got about that much. It's not as if I've got sometimes on the evening streams you're miles away and you can never get around them. But you try and then you fail dismally. But I think I'm up to space in this part. So Hugh Morgan, hi John, hi Hugh, you all right? Ever had the embracement of a parent walking in the room just as the sex scene started and moved when you were younger? Probably embarrassment there. Not really, not at parents, but I don't know why it is. But if I put a movie on and the Debs might be in the kitchen cooking or whatever, or watching something else, or talking to a mum, so that'll go on. And this film will be the film, and it'll have maybe a section of this film where somebody walks past with no clothes on or something happens. She always comes in that bit and she goes, aye, what are you watching? I go, nothing, it's just this movie. It's got this. And she goes, I bet. As if she thinks that's all a movie is. But not with parents, but yes, with the Debs. And Matthew, sometimes when he comes in, I've got to turn it off because I don't believe he's coming in this bit. Because obviously you watch movies that have certain months and not, these sort of horrors always have that element, don't they? Good question, though. But that would have been horrendously embarrassing, wouldn't it? Yeah. Cy Robson. I've got a couple of stories where I don't think I'll tell them on here about people who've had that type of similar embarrassment. I'll tell you one that there's a lad called, we call him Zav. That's his nickname from school. And he was going to show his gran a video of Prince, because he was a big fan of Prince, and he got this video of Prince in concert. So he said and this was the time when you pressed the switch on for the video to come on. There's no remote controls or anything, so you had to go to the thing to turn it off. So he put this thing. He said, "Oh, Mum, Gran, watch this thing of Prince, whatever it was." So then he switched it on. Well, of course, it wasn't that, wasn't it? It was an adult tape. and everyone was going, you know, in the northeast we call it six nout. Six nout was going on. That's a Geordie term. And this, he walked away and he heard the sort of what was on the thing, so he had to dive. He said he'd done the swan dive to get the stop button on that, and he said nobody talked for about 30 minutes after it. They just sat there, sort of looking at the floor. Can you imagine it? Wow. Saying that, like, I've got behind the comments now, just talking about that. Right. Tell you what, where am I? Right. I'll tell you what. I'm going to just quickly nip to the toilet, and then I'm going to come back with about another 20 minutes, because I think that Deb's, I think if she's coming in, she'll be in. So if you don't mind, I'm just excusing myself to nip quickly to the toilet, and then everyone will come on now and they'll think there's no one there. 5 minutes. Okay, where am I? Yeah, I can. So, Cy Robson says, talking of Exorcist movies, have you seen the trailer for Violent Night starring David Harbour? Yes, I have. As Santa rescuing a family in danger. It looks funny. Yes, it does actually. I think that'll be... Actually, the Debs might go and see that with us, because she's a big fan of Stranger Things. So she might actually... is that getting a bit wild there? No. She probably might go and see that, the movie, actually, in the cinema, which would be good, actually, to see a movie like that with her. She's not really into horror in the cinema. But yeah, that'd be a good movie to see. It looks great. Stephen Davis says, was that Vault of Horror with the Neat Freak? It probably was, actually. I just remember that some of these little stories they have in them movies were just absolutely brilliant, and that was one of them. Yeah, it probably was. Just such a good one. Charles Bronson says, John, do you lend your movies out to friends and family? The only reason I ask is that I lent Halloween Ends 4K Steelbook out to a girlfriend's brother. Came back with cover scratched and dented. Well, you've just answered my question there. Is that... no. The thing is, no. The short answer is no, and it's for that reason. Now, there's nothing worse, especially with friends and families, when you say to them, well, you obviously give them stuff, or you have given them stuff, not so much family, and then they come back in a total mess, or they just say, oh, I lent it to this bloke, and I've never heard of him again, or it's gone. And that's happened to me a lot of times, especially with videotapes. So I made a conscious effort when I started to get in, probably into DVD, and is to not do that. Now, these, especially with these special editions, when they come into the house, I don't even take them out. I wouldn't even take them out of the house. They go on that shelf and they're there for life. And it's up to me to keep them in a good condition, which I do. And if they are in a bad condition, that's my fault. But I can live with that. But they never get dented or anything, because I never move them once they're in there. So that's what I do. So yes, I don't, for that reason, Charlie. Because you know that unless you know somebody is 100% on your wavelength, I would. The only thing I'd probably lend stuff to is John Hall. Probably that's the only one I would actually lend stuff to. But John Hall doesn't ask for anything. He's got that much stuff anyway. There's that much he's got. There's no way he's going to say to me, "Oh, can I have a lend of that?" Because he'll have it 10 times over. But yeah, there's nothing worse when you do that. and that person, because you feel bad for even saying, do you mind the fact that this is just, you feel you're saying, can I have a new one, please? So no, is the short answer to that one. It's much easier, isn't it? It's much easier to say no and not really offend somebody, to have the problem of coming back and having the awkwardness of saying, I want a new one. But yeah, and these days as well, it's not as if they cost a couple of quid. Some of these cost a lot of money. So Dr. Possible says, is your house on fire, John? There's smoke or maybe steam. That's the heat. It's there. It's the heat. And actually, the pictures went a little bit bright at the moment. I'm just wondering if that's turned off. No, that's not any bit. There's heat. The light in here. Actually, the light's going to vanish soon anyway. I think we've only got another hour of daylight left. That's probably why this is getting a bit, because it's foggy as. But nice. Swore there. It's very foggy outside. Yes, it's not the tumble dryer, it's the heating. Actually, the tumble dryer is in the garage, which isn't on because your wife's not in. That's not me being funny about that. It's just that I don't put stuff in the dryer because it's not usually washed at this time. It's a nighttime thing. That's what your wife says. So Stephen Davis says, my favourite anthology is From Beyond the Grave with Peter Cushing as in the antique shop. Yes, that's another classic. Another one as well, it's not really horror. Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. Does anyone ever remember the Mickey take of that one? Called Dr. Terrible's House of Horrible with Steve Coogan. That's brilliant. That's a good one, but it's a comedy version of it. But yes, the Peter Cushing one, the antique shop, yeah, they were all great little stories, weren't they? So the monkey said, maybe just farted, Dr. Impossible. Well, if I did, there'd be something the matter with us if I could do that to the outside weather, wouldn't it? Actually, it'd be good if you could position yourself there. So the Lenny Nero says, it's always the most embarrassing scene or the wildest moment in a song when somebody comes in and interrupts me for some reason. Yes, it is. Nobody could, the best bits of a movie, everyone they're not there. They just come in the most things that they say, especially, obviously, if you're watching a really bad video nasty and something is really on there, people get this impression that you become some kind of madman. If they walked in and you see you're watching some of these things out of context, they will go, there's something out of you. Yeah, it's really odd that, but it's always the case, isn't it? So you've got to have your one hand on the pause button. Dr. Impossible said, the fog, watch out, John. Yes. Well, it's just white out there. It's crazy. It was what we'll call up here a pea super. It was a pea super yesterday. It's not so bad now, but it's still awful. And I need to have what do I need to have? If we go out tonight, hopefully it's not going to be one of them ones where it's a bit of a whites out because you can't see for the fog in the dark. Restoring Dave, empty chair stream. Yes, I know. Imagine if you just put a stream on and just left the chair. Well, I wonder if you actually did put a stream on here and just pressed the button and walked off and left it for 2 hours and come back. I wonder if anybody would watch it for the full 2 hours. I'm not going to do that though. I only went for a quick hit and miss, as I call them up here. The Monkey Lazy Boy stream coming soon. Dr. Impossible, well cushioned. What you have to say while John's not there. Yeah, you can look at the cushion. I didn't think you could see the cushion. It's great having the seat. I used to do some kind of streams where I was sitting on where was I sitting? On some of these, on this thing. This is so unforgiving. This it's a horrible chair. My legs were broken by the end of it. This is a proper comfortable chair. It used to be my son's room, but now he's got this huge gamer chair. Well, you've seen the size of him coming in there. You don't back chat that lad out. He's probably in there to eat about 3 chickens or something. So yes, what do you say when there's no there? It's where's my ladders? Yeah, I was just speaking to him today. I was speaking to him yesterday actually about where's my ladders. He's saying he should copyright it. He said, and I says, well, if you copyright it, I want half the money because you own the phrase and I own the thing, not the other word. So the monkey says, you missed my comment about Stranger Things responding to Psy. So I'll go back for that one. It's probably because I'm absolutely not blind, but I'm getting there. So I'll see if I can find that. So I can't actually see it. I'm struggling to see any of them. But if you could leave it, if you're still here, the monkey, if you put it down there again, I'll answer it. Yeah. Lenny Nero says, don't want to bother you much, John, but do you have any new favourite directors? Meaning those that came into the limelight in the past decade or so. It's funny that I do probably, but I don't really take too much notice of people who are directors, apart from the big directors from yesteryear. I don't really sort of look too much and sometimes then you say, oh, hang on, that person actually, they are the director. Now, who is it? Is it Dennis Villeneuve, I think he's called? And he did Dune. I'm a big fan of him. And although I watched Blade Runner 2049, I thought it was really good, but I didn't really get the fact of how good he was until I saw a few more of his movies. And yeah, I think he's a really good director. So I'd say him, but I'm quite like the thing with directors, I get surprised at who directs what. I'd never really taken notice, if I'm honest, for new stuff anyways. But I think he's one that I would definitely look out for his stuff. There's a few other ones that I probably watch certain videos and don't even know it's the same bloke on them. So no, I haven't really got an answer for you there, Lenny, but I'll have to think about that. I'll have to go looking for stuff. Excuse me. Sai says, my mom walked in during the car rental scene in Planes, Trains and Automobiles where Steve Martin goes on an F-bomb rant. Yes. I thought it was hilarious, but my mum was disgusted. I know, it's terrible, isn't it? But that happens. I remember being at my grand's house and my auntie and uncle were up. And my uncle's from Wales and he loves Alan Alda. So there was an Alan Alda film on the TV and we're stopping overnight at that point, or for a week. So he says, can I watch this movie? So we all sat around because he did that at that point. Everybody in this room had a huge room. And he put this Alan Alda film on. For some reason, in tea time, they'd put on a version that wasn't censored. It was effing this and effing that. So my gran, who never heard stuff like this, it started to say this stuff. And we were looking at each other. It was me, the Debs was there. There was also me two cousins, Joanne and David, and they were there. And her, Joanna's mum, my auntie, they were all in this room. And one by one, we just got up and sort of left and went to this other room, the kitchen, and said, have you heard what's going on in there? So I think my gran pretended not to hear it, but it was just my uncle. He was just laughing his head off. And I thought, is this a bit too much for them, for her? But anyway, that was very awkward, that one. So Don Impossible says, cheers, Don, I better get back to work. No bother at all. But thanks for coming in, Don Impossible. Appreciate that. Lenny Nero, there's a few on my list. S. Craig Zala, Dragged Across Concrete, Cell Block 99. I've got Cell Block 99. I think I've Dragged Across Concrete I think I downloaded that one actually. Joe Bego, Bliss, WFW. I've seen both them films. They were brilliant, actually. And I will say that he's a great director. And Anna Lily Amirpour, Mona Lisa, and The Blood Moon. That name rings a bell. Ty West, yeah. Pearl, which I recommend. Yes, X. So I would say out of them, definitely Ty West is really at his. That X. I mean, the House of the Devil. I think that's one of his early ones. That's brilliant. I never realised that it was the same bloke who made X, but Pearl and X are just. Pearl is amazing. Saw it the other night. I just want to watch it again. It was so good. Lenny also says it's my early millennial generation, about 40 years old, that seemingly grew up watching the same movies and are now making films we'd like to see. Yes, I agree that these filmmakers are sort of our age or just a bit around our age who probably watch the same stuff as us and then thought, I'll make a film. That'll be my inspiration. Yeah, I agree with that one. Quite a good point, that actually. The Monkey, I was saying that to say, since the actor playing Santa in the new film can kick ass, shows us he could have had him in a lot more in Stranger Things, and they would have focused more on the adults, not on the 11. Yeah, not 11. Yeah, I know it could be. You're right. There could have been a sort of a more adult version, and by I mean adults, I mean the adults. The Stranger Things could have had a bit of a maybe the odd episode by themselves, and then moved away from the kids for a certain period of the because we're in the middle of season 4, and the reason why we're saying to stop on it is because it's quite a long. Most of the episodes are now about an hour and a half. It's trying to find the time to fit them in because before it's like 40 minutes. You can easily get through them. We got through the first 3.5. No, 2 seconds. Where's me lattice? Hey, guess what, Michael? Guess what? I'm on a live stream at the minute. Can I phone you back? I'm on a live stream on YouTube. I'll ring you back, okay? Right. See you later. Didn't even say it too well. Look at that. And that's the ladder man. Anyway, so I'll be on the phone for the rest of the night. Yes, I do agree with that. That it's a maybe it was a wasted opportunity. I mean, I haven't seen all of season 4, but I would imagine it'd be a season 5 in the mix. Do enjoy it. I just think the episode's a little bit long at the minute to get through them easily. The Monkey, even though they turned 11 into the old, even though they turned 11 into a child professor. I haven't seen that bit, I don't think. Kermit's Ghost. Hi, Alan. Hi, John. Hope you're all is well with you. Yes, it's not too bad, Alan. I've been on here about an hour and a half. Wow, an hour and a half. I just thought that I want to do a bit of a catch up, and it's in November, and look how far it's come before the November one happened. It'll be December by the time we get November out. And I thought if I don't do it today, I'll have missed the November one. And I do like doing these ones, but I wanted to. If I'd known, I would have put a thing out to talk about, like to get everybody to know about it. But I didn't have the opportunity. It was a bit of a spur of the moment, actually. But yeah, I'm all right, Alan. I hope you're all right as well, mate. Monkey says, Kermit, hi. And Kermit says, hi, the monkey. So I'm going to say to Alan, because obviously Alan's here. What have you been like in the sales with yourself? Have you been going crazy, or did you manage to rein it in a touch? Because I was getting to the point when I was thinking I'm going to have to stop this because it's going to get crazy. And but I think it's everybody's in the same boat, that you want to just get like these deals, and every time, especially in HMV, when you go to HMV, there's deal after deal after deal. I could have spent 4 times as much as I spent the last time I was in, but I had to stop because I thought that some of these are going to be in the sale for a bit longer. And I didn't want to blow everything in one go and then think, oh, I've got nothing for the. So Alan Kermisco said, I have to go to HMV with blinkers on. Yeah, I'm a bit like that because I had literally about 20 things in my hand. I thought I'm going to have to start putting this stuff back because you don't think about it. You think, what's the deal? That's a deal. That's a deal. And you go, hang on, how much is this going to be? And it's nuts. But yeah, I totally agree, Alan. It's great to have it. Don't get us wrong. I'm loving it, and I can't wait to go back there again. But if I'd been the way I was, I would have spent a whole lot, and I couldn't go back. That would be, and then hopefully I'll end up getting the ones that I want to see, want to have, as opposed to things where I think, well, I shouldn't have got that one. Maybe at this point. So the monkey has asked Alan, what's his favorite Christmas film? And Alan said, my favorite Christmas film, Monkey, is The Muppets Christmas Carol. And the monkey said, John, do you think Arrow will drop the 4K of the 4K of Muppets Christmas Carol in December? Well, I don't know if they were. Is that something to do with what Alan's saying? I don't know if they were going to do that. I would like to see a 4K of it. I would like to see a 4K of a Muppets film because I think they're quite funny, actually. Quite a laugh. Actually, if I'm honest, the Christmas Carol, I haven't seen it for that length of time. But I will definitely watch that. Saying that, I will definitely watch. I've tried to definitely watch this in December. And the Debs quite likes the Muppets as well. Even though when I said I want to watch the Muppets film, she couldn't believe what I was saying. But we watched the one with Ricky Gervais in it, and it's so funny, that one. I think it's just called The Muppets, isn't it? I think. I don't know. They've all got the same sort of title, haven't they? I find. So I've got, well, it's 1 hour 35 on the clock. We'll go for another 5 minutes, and then I'll have to get back to Michael, and also I think the Debs might be coming in. So if I can get the phone call for Michael to be done, because as soon as I pick the phone up to Michael, I'll be getting the phone call from the Debs telling me what we're going to do. We're going to meet up or not, or is she stopping late at work? I don't know. Anyway. So we'll go another 5 minutes, and I want to thank anybody who's come around and watched this very impromptu stream, just me coming on and talking about rubbish, really, for 1 hour 36 minutes. Really appreciate that. So Blu-ray Baz, all right, Baz. Sorry if you already covered this. Have you seen Nope? Did you like it? Will you get it on 4K? I haven't seen Nope, but I love the other two that he's done. Actually, he's a great director. If I can put that out, Jordan. What's he called again? I'm blanking on his name. So I would say that I haven't, but I do want to see it, and I would imagine I'll be getting it on 4. If I like it enough, I will get it on 4K. I would prefer to see it on something like Sky Movies for free, not to buy it, and then I can make my judgment then. Because if it's not that good, I wouldn't buy it just because I like that director. I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I'm very intrigued. I don't know anything about it. That's the best thing. I've kept me. I do tend to stay away from as many spoilers as I can. That's sometimes why I go in groups and there's a spoiler in it. I try to keep, especially when there's something out that I want to see. Or if you're watching a stream on playback, you'll fast forward bits when people mention these things. So Darren Hartley says, "Good evening, John, from Costa del Blackpool." Well, I hope it's warmer in Costa del Blackpool than it is in Costa del Whitley Bay, because it's not great up here. But Costa del Blackpool, I've been to Blackpool a few times actually. I've been for a long time, but I used to go there as a kind of summer holiday every year. In the 70s, I remember going there and buying my favourite toy ever, which is a Frankenstein doll, which I got from there, and I loved it. My son threw it in the bin, but I managed to buy another one off eBay before it went Jordan Peele. Before these AFI sort of mega figures went into silly money, but I've still got the one I rebought. I paid 50 quid for it. It's not box like, but it's my favourite toy from my youth. If anybody wants to know that. So Blu-ray Baz said it's not quite Top Gun Maverick, but it's pretty good. Jordan Peele, yes. Top Gun Maverick, what a movie that is. But yeah, I'm up for watching it. I'll watch any of his films because I think he's a good filmmaker, and the way his films are shot, I think they look spectacular. And the 4K quality on his two movies is unreal. So I would imagine the 4K would be the one to go for Nope. So there you go. So Darren Hartley says, "No, it's freezing." Yes, it's freezing here. I've got the heating on, which I don't usually do. I try not to do, for the obvious reason. It's may as well just stand outside lighting money, mightn't you? Setting fire to money. And Kermit Allen says, "Weather is grim down here in Brighton too." Yeah, I could imagine it being that because coastal, we're on the coast, on you next to water. Darren Hartley, Mardi Gras Massacre is up for purchasing on the 88 films at last. Well, yes, it is. It's for the 2nd of January, isn't it? 2nd of January next year. But keep an eye out for a video that's coming. It was going to come out today. I thought about it, but I'm going to put it out tomorrow. keep an eye out, Darren, for my video coming out tomorrow that's going to talk about that, and I'm going to show it. I've got one, so just check out that video. There you go. That's and I'm not going to say anything more about it. Just check the video and see what you think. It's a detailed review of the actual movie. I'm going to show the movie as well. It's not a copy. It's not a copy. It's not as if I just say, I've got this off, I'll rip this off the net. No, it's a proper legit one. So yeah, so I'm interested to put that out. I've had it for about a week. I've watched it. I'm going to watch it again, actually. I enjoyed it that much. When I say enjoyed, I mean enjoyed by the fact it entertained us wildly, but it's a really bad film. But because of it's so bad, it's got these elements in it that are so watchable. So I do recommend, if you're interested, do check into that if you want to know what Mardi Gras Massacre is all about before buying it or purchasing it. My short story is go and buy it for £18 in January the 2nd, because you'll be amazed. That's all I'm going to say. Do know it's bad though, but you can get a lot out of it because it's bad. Right, so I think I've answered everybody there. I'm gonna wrap it up now. I want to thank everybody who's come along to this like stream from nowhere, and I will catch up with you again in this format by on put it December. Yes, December, which is probably like that's 2 days away, isn't it? The world is flying around too quickly for me, and so Alan says I will be turning 55 on January the 2nd. I know, wow, tell us about it. I turned 55 last week. But the thing is, what I was phoning up about is the fact that when you get to 55, you can start to check out what your pensions are all about. So I've been doing that. I've been wondering, not going to retire, but you can start to get some of your retirement money, and so that's what I've been phoning up about. And I tell you what, if I'm trying to track down a pension I was in from 1986 to 1990 in the NHS, and I tell you what, I'm going to be 95 by the time I find out where. I'm ringing these things up online and saying, phone this up for that. So I'm phoning them up, and I said to this bloke, can I ask you about this NHS pension, please? And he said, how have you got me phone number? I said, well, I've got it off the net. That's in it. So that's what you do. And he said, no, I'm not going to do that, but I don't know how you got your number. I said, well, it's on the NHS website. And he put me for this other number. He said, well, phone this number up. So I phoned the number up and said, what are you phoning us up for? This has got nothing to do with that. I said, well, just saying off this, so I've got a real runaround, but I've got a few numbers to ring up about this anyway, but that's an old one. I'm hoping to get it 4 years worth or whatever it is. But so anyway, so when you hit 55, so Alan said, is that where you got the heating on? Yeah, I'm just blowing me. Actually, there's my pension going out the window. Yeah, but I tell you what, Alan, if you are thinking about doing it, I don't know what your circumstances are, but if you think about doing this thing at 55, know that it's not easy, put it that way. You'll be, like I say, you'll be 95 by the time that anybody ever answers anything you talk about. Anyway, so Lenny Nero says, great, thanks for your time. No problem at all, Lenny. Thanks for popping in and having a chat. And so Lenny also says, oh, that reminds me, how much does heating and electricity cost over there per month? Just about. And I'm thinking, well, I don't think anybody has had the bill yet, because they're talking about this coming up. But this is going to be the time of year when people are going to get the rude awakenings of this is how much electricity and stuff and heating costs. I don't know, but I'm dreading to find out. So I haven't got any inclination, but I know it's going to be a lot more than it used to be. But I don't understand this. I think it's just the way the world's going at the minute, unfortunately. But yeah. So yeah, Alan, thanks for the heads up, John. Yeah. Do know that if you're going for it, whatever your circumstances are, it's going to be a little bit. I thought if I had the numbers of the 3 places I need to phone up, it was going to be a doddle, but I'm a bit further away than I was even before I phoned them up. But anyway. Okay, so the joys of turning 55. Right, so thanks once again for anybody coming over, and I really appreciate you coming across and watching this stream. And I will see you sometime in December doing the same thing. And also the stream at night with the video nasties. I'm hoping for, not probably the second week in December. I'm hoping for that. Like I say, it's just a work thing. It's going to be a bit heads up. It's going to be a bit hands-on at the minute. But I'm hoping to fit that one in there. And also maybe another separate live stream at night on my channel, maybe. But yes, so thanks once again. Really appreciate you coming across. And I will see you very soon. So cheers. Thanks a lot.